歡迎各位網友咧，又嚟到我哋小政府嘅節目啊！咁都係我107動力嘅主持何文傑啦。不過今日咧，我哋一間嘅嘉賓咧就會轉一轉呢個語音，就去到英語啊，因為政府咧最近就提議咧喺香港實施一個全面禁制電子煙嘅一個政策。咁而喺世界各地咧，其實電子煙都係一個好新興嘅行業同埋產品。咁亦都咧，甚少國家咧係進行咗一個全面嘅禁制。所以今日咧，我哋請咗一位國際嚟到嘅嘉賓嚇，同我哋分享下佢對電子煙嘅睇法。So we now change the channel to English. Actually, is expert on consumer rights, and he come from a group to promote consumer rights, which called Fast Asia.
Correct.
Yeah. So nowadays in Hong Kong, Hong Kong government propose a ban of all kind of e-cigarettes. But what is e-cigarettes?
E-cigarettes were created as an alternative to conventional cigarettes. They were created because the inventor was very concerned about the health aspects of smoking cigarettes. He had seen death and disease in his family. He was a smoker himself, and he was looking for a gateway away from tobacco to just enjoying nicotine without the dangers. And he invented what is actually a pretty simple system, which involves a heating element, a container with nicotine, water, propylene glycol, and some flavoring, a chamber to vaporize this, and basically you just suck on it and it gives you vapor, not smoke, vapor, which is laced with nicotine in about the same amount as you would get from a cigarette from each puff, and gives you pretty much the same sensation, the same experience as smoking a cigarette, but without the risks that are involved.
So Hong Kong government already promote how harmful of cigarettes in the past 20, 30 years. But why they ban a alternative of smoking? What is different with e-cigarettes and cigarettes?
It's a very good question. Yeah. Why would you ban something that is known to be much safer than a legitimate, legally available product that's open to adults? What would be the basis for that? I believe the Hong Kong government believes that, or certainly the health department of the Hong Kong government believes that they have made significant progress in encouraging people to understand the problem of smoking tobacco, the health issues, and let's face it, half of all smokers who don't quit are going to die of a smoking-related disease. This is well understood. It may even be more than half. But this is a legal product. We're talking about cigarettes. So their concern is that the work that they're putting in to reduce the smoking incidence, to make people aware of the health issues with smoking tobacco and the wider problems that it creates, such as the smoke, the secondhand smoke, the effects on families and friends and colleagues and so on and so forth. Why would you ban something that is clearly less harmful than this legal product? And their reasoning appears to be that they believe that their efforts have so far led to a denormalization of smoking.
That means everything related to smoke is evil.
That's right. Everything is.
We should ban it.
Absolutely, just ban it. Actually, an e-cigarette has no smoke, none at all. There's no burning involved. It's simply heating up a fluid and vaporizing it. So what you're taking in with an e-cigarette is essentially water vapor that's laced with nicotine. There's no tobacco involved. There's no burning. There's no carcinogens. There's no dangerous particulates. It's just simply a way to take nicotine, which, while addictive, is not particularly harmful to human beings. The same as caffeine, which is one hydrogen atom different from nicotine, is also addictive, but it is not harmful to human beings. Not taken in the doses that you would take in a cup of coffee. Nicotine is not dangerous to human beings, taken in the doses that you would get from an e-cigarette, which is the same as the dose that you would get from a cigarette. So the concern is that by allowing vaping, which is e-cigarettes, it's called vaping, that it would serve to re-normalize smoking. But I think that this is actually incorrect, because vaping is vaping, smoking is smoking. What is common between them is the nicotine. So it's important to separate tobacco and nicotine. They're two separate things. Nicotine is in tobacco, also in tomatoes, also in potatoes, also in broccoli, but it's found in tobacco. And if you separate it from the tobacco, you no longer have the issue of smoke, of cancerous materials, of particulates that are dangerous. You just have the nicotine. So it's a safe, I would say, way of taking nicotine, which smokers enjoy. That's why they smoke, together with the ritual of playing with something in your hands and so on and so forth. E-cigarettes were developed primarily as an alternative to smoking tobacco. Consequently, the inventors were keen to ensure that the same rituals, the same feelings, the same experience could be mimicked or duplicated with an electronic device. And they have largely succeeded. And as technology has improved, as more research has been done into the manufacture and design, we're now onto the third generation of vaping products. The first generation just looked like a cigarette. The second generation looks more like a pen. And the third generation is sort of a box, which is a battery with a tube coming out of the top of it. And it's a very simple device which provides nicotine, and medical research, scientific data, and many health professionals understand that vaping or using an e-cigarette is 95% or more less harmful, we can say safer, than a cigarette. So as they are actually two separate things, the confusion comes because it's called an e-cigarette as opposed to an e-nicotine or a enjoyable device of some kind that's a personal choice for a consumer to make. The confusion is that people are relating e-cigarettes to conventional cigarettes, and it's understandable because they sound almost the same, and in many cases they look almost the same, but they are different products. They're just similar in how they look, and when you exhale from a cigarette you get smoke. When you exhale from an e-cigarette you get water vapor. I think it's quite clear water vapor is not as harmful as smoke.
Yes, just as you say, we can imagine the difference between burning and heating. So the traditional cigarettes need to burn, and it may cause some smoke, and that means a lot of people are against smoking because the second-hand smoke problem. But for e-cigarettes, is this no problem of second-hand smoke?
There's no issue with second-hand smoke at all. It's not smoke. It's water vapor.
Yeah.
And it dissipates very quickly.
Vapor, just like when we take shower, there's some.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It disappears
Every day
very
we do it.
Yes, exactly. I think a closer thing would be taking a shower with some highly scented soap. You can smell the flavouring, but it dissipates very, very quickly. It's not an issue. There's no health problem with the vapour that's exhaled by a smoker, unlike with tobacco smoke, which is regarded as being a risk to people who are exposed to it. There is no risk to anybody exposed to water vapor.
That means Hong Kong government just try to ban something is safer and much more health than cigarettes.
Well, that's right. Currently in Hong Kong, it is illegal to use an e-cigarette with nicotine in it. But there are plenty of e-cigarettes available without nicotine. They have flavors, strawberry, chocolate, whatever, which offer many Hong Kong smokers who have discovered e-cigarettes an alternative to smoking. Now, because nicotine is not available in Hong Kong in an e-cigarette format, that is not an option currently for a Hong Kong smoker. However, there are many Hong Kong smokers who use e-cigarettes to reduce their use of conventional cigarettes. These are e-cigarettes without nicotine. Of course, they still want the nicotine, so when they really get that craving, they're probably going to smoke a cigarette. The option to switch completely to a nicotine e-cigarette has been taken away from them, and it's hard to understand why, when you look at the broader picture of the net health gain for the entire citizenry of Hong Kong. So there's 650,000 smokers in Hong Kong, and my organisation, Fact Asia, has recently conducted a survey of smokers in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, and the results are consistent throughout all those markets. In Hong Kong, roughly 68% of smokers
68,
say they would switch to e-cigarettes if they were available and if they were regulated so that they could be confident that the product, the equipment, was constructed and manufactured to reasonably promulgated manufacturing standards.
Yes.
Currently, there are no manufacturing standards required for any e-cigarette product available in Hong Kong and many other markets around the world. However, I think it's quite clear that this is a relatively simple technology, and most manufacturers could easily conform to a set of manufacturing guidelines. This would make the product much more safer in terms of the confidence of consumers.
Because ban something is much more easy.
Oh, if you don't understand it, ban it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get them to ban it. Yeah.
We don't know what it is and ban
right.
it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, actually, we all have cell phones. And here's mine. And these products are not known to be 100% safe.
Yes, so
there is still some debate that maybe using it could give you brain cancer or what have you. However, we want them. This is a consumer choice.
Yes.
We know the risks. We believe them to be quite small. We haven't had cell phones around long enough to really understand what the long-term effects of using them are. However, consumers are prepared to accept that risk for the convenience of having a device that improves and enhances their life. An e-cigarette is not that dissimilar in as much as it's a consumer choice. It's a functional device which provides pleasure. It's something that nicotine users in particular.
Like drinking a coffee or
like drinking a
Coca-Cola.
Like drinking a Coca-Cola, yes. But if you could look at a soft drink, and no doubt if governments can get away with banning a product such as an e-cigarette, which is a much safer alternative to a legal product, cigarettes, which is widely available to any adult, then how long before we're going to see other consumer preferences, such as soft drinks, fast food, things that may not be good for you, but which people enjoy?
Yes.
It's a personal choice. Provided you've got all the information available to you to make that choice, that's your choice as an adult.
It's ridiculous that we allowed to take cigarettes, but ban e-cigarettes.
It seems that way to me. I understand that there are concerns that non-smokers, current non-smokers, might take an e-cigarette and then say, oh, I'm going to use this as a gateway to smoking. I understand that concern. I understand that there is a concern that underage users might find e-cigarettes and become addicted to nicotine and then switch to cigarettes.
Somehow against this. Yeah.
The evidence, however, it shows that this is not what's happening. Children, underage consumers will always try things they're not allowed to. They will, if they want to, be able to get hold of them. That's clear. But if we look at the scientific community and ask them, they will say, first of all, many surveys have been done that clearly indicate that, first of all, e-cigarettes are not a gateway to tobacco, as is claimed by some health advocates. It is not. It's the other way round. E-cigarettes are attractive to current smokers because they're a gateway away from smoking. And that's what we're seeing in communities where e-cigarettes are allowed, are legal to adults.
Yeah, also, e-cigarettes is quite personal.
It's a very personal thing.
You just bring your own e-cigarette.
You bring your own. You're not going to share it with somebody. No, you can't drink out of my
yeah.
coffee cup, and you can't have
my
e-cigarette.
You will
either.
ask your friend,
Absolutely,
you want to try
yes,
one?
absolutely. You want to try one, yes. So it is. You're right. It's a personal choice.
I think almost all smokers start from a free cigarette.
I did.
But no free e-cigarettes.
There's no free e-cigarettes, I'm afraid. No, you have to buy them. And interestingly enough, the cost of getting started with an e-cigarette, unless you're buying a disposable one, which are not that popular, the cost of setting yourself up with a reasonably good quality e-cigarette is much greater than buying packets of cigarettes. Once you've actually got the product, the e-cigarette, then the actual cost of using it, in other words, buying the nicotine capsules, is in most cases cheaper than smoking. And it should be. E-cigarettes are a gateway away from smoking. We should be encouraging smokers to switch to this less harmful product rather than banning them from accessing it. The choice for smokers appears to be quit or die. But actually there is a choice. You can quit or switch or die. But that choice has currently been taken away from Hong Kong consumers. And I cannot see any justification for it. Not in terms of personal choice, not in terms of consumer rights, and not in terms of the overall health potential that e-cigarettes offer to improve the health of Hong Kong's community. Not just smokers, but also their families, their friends, their colleagues.
How about experience from other country? Can I buy a e-cigarettes in London?
As a matter of fact, you could you could be at Heathrow Airport. You could go to any one of a number of outlets, buy any kind of e-cigarette that you want, smoke it in the airport, get on the plane.
Even with nicotine?
Oh yes, with nicotine. Smoke it in the airport, jump on a plane, land in Hong Kong, be arrested and put in prison for possessing it. Now, how does that make sense? It doesn't. Clearly there needs to be some global harmony in the regulations and the use of e-cigarettes. It just simply doesn't make sense that in the EU, in the US, and in many other parts of the world, you can buy these products openly if you're an adult, at a convenience store, whatever, at a specialty store, but you can't come to Hong Kong and use it. Possession of it is illegal. That doesn't make sense.
But this is a new thing which is developed every year. Develop the combination or technology or anything. Is this possible to replace cigarettes in the future, do you think?
Well, according to many leading anti-smoking health advocates, this is the best opportunity that's ever been presented to actually reduce, if not completely eradicate, tobacco. The stated goal of all anti-smoking advocates is to decrease the death and disease that the tobacco epidemic causes. If that is your stated goal, then you must embrace a technology that has been proven to be far safer than conventional cigarettes and offer a lifeline to the smokers in your community, 650,000 smokers in Hong Kong, which is a relatively significant percentage of the electorate. It doesn't make sense to ban them from accessing a product that could save their lives. I don't understand why you would do that, particularly when the reasons that have been given, which are that it could renormalize smoking, it's not smoking, it's vaping, and that children could be introduced to e-cigarettes and then switch to cigarettes. All the research and surveys that have been done in countries where e-cigarettes are actually legal shows that this is not the case. If children do get hold of e-cigarettes, they do not switch to cigarettes. They don't. And I think we have to understand that there's a far greater awareness among all peoples that tobacco smoking is not good for you. But there's a growing awareness, particularly in countries where e-cigarettes are legal, and not just amongst consumers, but amongst medical professionals, that this is a much, much, much safer way of taking nicotine. Again, it's a personal choice.
And a teenager want to try something exciting.
Well, you're not
we ban the
if you ban it, you'll make it exciting. You'll make it even more appealing. Yes.
And Hong Kong is an open country. It's very easy to smuggling e-cigarettes. Even we ban it.
Apparently so, because over 30
huge big market.
Absolutely, over 30% of all cigarettes consumed in Hong Kong currently are smuggled. They're illicit.
Why not smuggle some e-cigarettes?
Well, it's not going to be. You just go to the same person that sells you a smuggled cigarette, and he'll sell you a smuggled e-cigarette.
It just looks like a pen.
It can look like a pen. It can look like a box with a tube coming out of it. It's not a difficult product to deal with. When
we're talking something about public policy, we need to think how to implement the policy. If we ban it, but you cannot implement.
Well, I think that's true. It's easy to pass a law, but it's not that easy to enforce it. And I think the law enforcement agencies already have their work cut out trying to stem the flow of illicit cigarettes coming into the country. Why would we want to make their job even harder by telling them, well, here's another product that's banned that you've got to stop? Well, we know it's going to come in. In fact, you can go down to Mong Kok, you can go down to many areas in Hong Kong and buy an e-cigarette off the street. It's not a problem. It doesn't have nicotine in it, but you can buy it anyway. And actually, by the very nature of it, you can just get a nicotine cartridge from somewhere else, China, for example, and replace the fruit flavour. It's not difficult, and I would imagine some users are doing that already. But again, you've got a product that is clearly of benefit to the health community. We're seeing doctors in the EU, in Europe, in the US, recommending to their patients that smoke that they switch from smoking to e-cigarettes. And the doctors are seeing huge improvements in the health of former smokers who've switched to e-cigarettes, still consume nicotine, but don't burn tobacco. The health improvement is very, very quick. So let's make it available to smokers. Let's work to reduce the number of people that smoke and give them an alternative choice and make sure that the products that they get hold of are manufactured properly. That's what we're asking for, that consumers have the choice.
Yes.
I believe they have the right to choose.
Do you know where is the major manufacturer of e-cigarettes?
Oh, by far the majority of cigarettes are made across the border in China.
Oh, mainland China.
Mainland China. They supply...
Very close to Hong Kong.
It is rather close to Hong Kong, isn't
Then
it?
it's very easy to...
It's rather easy to get in, yes.
Is this create another problem if Hong Kong ban the e-cigarettes? The manufacturer from mainland China cannot export or import e-cigarettes through Hong Kong? The trading problem.
Well, I would. This is not my field of expertise, but I think it's quite clear that if you ban the import and export of e-cigarettes, then the manufacturers from China are going to have to find alternative ways of getting their product shipped out.
Yeah.
Well,
Hong Kong lost a lot of jobs.
Well, there could be some.
Logistic.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. I mean, what we're seeing around the world is the e-cigarette market is growing rapidly. So more and more product is going to come out of China. Some of it necessarily, presumably, will come through Hong Kong,
Yes.
either legally or illegally.
Yes.
So I think it's not really anything to do with consumer rights, perhaps commercial rights.
Yes.
But from a consumer's point of view, if you deny access to a product that scientists are now saying is absolutely the way forward if you want to achieve health improvement in your community, then why would you ban it?
That's true. As you say, some countries allowed it, e-cigarettes. How they tackle the test issue? How to test e-cigarettes?
In many countries, they're taxed as just a product. In other words, you have VAT, GST, what have you. In South Korea, for example, which is not a model that I would particularly endorse, e-cigarettes, all types of e-cigarettes, perfectly legal, available to any adult, taxed the same rate as a cigarette.
Okay.
I don't think that's such a good idea. I believe they should be available to adults, but they should be taxed less because there'd be more of an incentive for a smoker to switch. They should be being encouraged to switch.
They should promote people smoke street to e-cigarettes.
Well, I
So
think promote is probably the wrong word. I think encourage smokers to switch. I'm not going to sit here.
Encourage electronic vehicle.
Yes, exactly.
We don't
right.
have
yes,
any
you
tax
should
on
get a
it.
benefit for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to make the point. I'm not encouraging people to smoke cigarettes, and I'm not encouraging people to smoke e-cigarettes, and I'm not endorsing the use of nicotine. It's a consumer choice. It's a personal choice, and to make that choice, you must have access to all the information, and not the distorted, skewed, very much incorrect information that finds its way into the mainstream press. If you want to look online, there's plenty of evidence that e-cigarettes are nothing like as dangerous as some groups would like to have us believe.
Sure, of course. If some audience want to know more about e-cigarettes, what can they do?
You can go to our website, factasia.org. There's plenty of links from there. You can research e-cigarette science by just typing it into Google. And I think you can also look at the various markets where e-cigarettes are legal and find websites where it's very well explained. There's also another website you might want to look at, which is tveca.com.
Okay.
And that is an association of international manufacturers and distributors of vaping products, and there's a wealth of information on that site with many, many links to all kinds of research, data and science that will certainly help to redress the balance of the prevailing negative efforts to demonize e-cigarettes in the same way as cigarettes.
Yes.
So please, let's have an environment, let's have a market where consumers have the right to choose a less harmful product than the existing very dangerous cigarettes. It doesn't make sense to ban them. The science is purely on the side of e-cigarettes. There is very, very little evidence to suggest that e-cigarettes are anything other than a very, very positive, disruptive technological innovation that can save millions of lives over the planet. And the last thing I'd like to say on that is that while all the research obviously has not been done because they've only been around for 10 years, One of the world's leading anti-smoking activists, former head of ASH UK, has stated that if we wait, right now we know e-cigarettes are 95 to 95% safer than cigarettes. If we wait until all the evidence is in, it will take years and millions of lives will be lost in the period. Let's review this, let's research this, let's make these products available to smokers and consumers in Hong Kong.
Yes. As our so-called small government, that means we will promote a spirit that government should not do something on our daily life, or we need to keep our freedom to choose our lifestyle.
Individual liberty is very important, and the right to choose is fundamental to that.
But Hong Kong government are going to ban e-cigarettes, which is something we really don't know what it is. So this is very ridiculous. Even no more public debate on e-cigarettes. So I hope this show and other contribution from H and your friend can let Hong Kong people much more rational debates in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much too. Thank you for having me.